Hello friends, welcome to part 10 and we were studying about universe. So let's continue our discussion with a slight revision. Okay, we studied about universe. We saw what light year is. It is a unit of distance which we use for space. Then we saw how much is light year. We saw that the distance between earth and sun is approximately 150 million kilometers, and the speed of light is 3 lakh kilometer per second. So it takes approximately 500 seconds for sunlight to reach to earth. Okay, so we saw that we are in the Milky Way galaxy. Our solar system is in Milky Way galaxy, and universe has approximately 2 trillion galaxies all over. Then further we moved on to Big Bang theory, which explains the origin of universe. We saw that there are 3 elementary particles that initially made up the universe, which were leptons, bosons and quark. And then we saw that about Large Hadron Collider, where it is located on Swiss-France border near the city of Geneva, and it is the facility of CERN, CERN. Okay. Then further we had studied about that in the beginning, due to Higgs boson particle, the mass was not converted to energy, and rather hydrogen atoms were formed, which eventually formed stars, and all the stars and galaxies, they again combined to form the singularity because of the gravitational pull between each of them, and which resulted into Big Crunch. Okay, into Big Crunch. Here we were. This was the Big Crunch, as we talked about in the last video, and after that there was Big Bang explosion, which we saw, because the entire mass was contained in a single proton sized particle, entire mass of the universe. So after Big Bang we saw that the universe is still in an expanding phase, and all the objects, all the galaxies, all the suns, all planetary objects, all interstellar objects are moving farther away from each other. The evidence for that was Doppler shift, that is, everything that we see seems to us as red except one galaxy, which is Andromeda galaxy, which shows blue shift. That means that it is the only galaxy which is moving towards our Milky Way galaxy. Rest all are in the expanding phase. The universe is in the expanding phase. So today we will be talking about stars. Okay, so how stars are formed? Stars are formed by fusion reaction, nuclear fusion reaction. What happens in a fusion reaction? Two lighter weight nuclei are combined to form a heavier nuclei. One hydrogen atom combines with another hydrogen atom to form a helium atom. In the same way, one helium atom combines with another helium atom to form beryllium. Likewise, okay, so in this fusion reaction, because both the particles are positively charged, hydrogen and hydrogen are positively charged, so we require immense amount of energy, and that energy is provided by heat. Millions of degrees of centigrade temperature is required to overcome that repulsive force between the two positively charged hydrogen atoms to combine them and form a helium atom. Okay. To explain, to understand why this amount of energy is required, you all must have played with magnet in your childhood. Two opposite faces of magnet can be put together very easily because they are of negative poles. One is south pole and one is north pole. You can combine them very easily without any force. But if you want to combine north pole and north pole of two different magnets, you need to apply a lot of energy of yourselves to make them stick together, and they won't stick together. In the same way, if you want to combine two hydrogen nuclei which are like charged, which are both of them are positively charged, in order to do that you need a lot of heat energy. Okay, that's why huge temperature are required for fusion reaction. Now coming further, this is the reaction which happens inside the core of a star. Two hydrogen atoms combine to form helium. They further combine to form beryllium, carbon, oxygen, neon, and here you can see in this figure. In this figure, you can see a lot of other elements are also formed. Two hydrogens combine to form helium. Helium further combines to form carbon. Then oxygen is formed, which is heavier than carbon. Then neon is formed, which is heavier than oxygen. Then magnesium is formed, which is a metal, as we all know. Silicon is formed, and finally iron is formed. Okay, so in a very huge star you will also find iron in its core. Such heavy elements are there in its core. So why I have written this gravitational force over here, F is equals to g m1 m2 by r square, in order to, because this we will require, this knowledge we will need in further slides also, why planetary objects are attracted towards each other. Let me teach to you about this equation a little bit. G m1 m2 by r square. Suppose you have friendship with one person. Okay, you are m1 and your friend is m2. If the intensity of your friendship with that person is very good on both sides, your friend is also very intense about your friendship and you are also very intense about your friendship with your friend. So what will happen is the force between you two, that pull between you two, that you will be calling each other every day, you will be meeting each other every day, this means that the force, the gravitational pull towards each other is very good. Okay, now what happens is, suppose both of you get distant apart, your friendship is long distance friendship. So what will happen is, although you have very intense amount of friendship between each other, very intense relation you have, but still, since the distance has come between you, you won't be able to call your friend every day, you will call every week maybe, because now the distance between you is too much. So the same way what happens is, if there are two objects and the mass between them is huge, then the gravitational pull between them will be huge. But if the distance between the two objects is too much, then the gravitational pull will also decrease. Why I am teaching you all this is because what happens is, when these reactions are happening, hydrogen is combining to form helium. Okay, so mass is increasing, mass between the particles in the core, mass of the elements in the core, this is increasing. So gravitational pull is increasing. Everything what is surrounding the star is trying to come inside, that it is pulling inside. As you can see here, this gravity is acting inwards. Okay, this gravity is acting inwards, but at the same time what is happening is, inside there is happening nuclear reaction. So a lot of heat energy is there, so this heat energy is trying to make an outward push inside the star. So there is a balance. Gravity is trying to pull everything inside, whereas the heat energy is trying to push everything outside. Why heat energy tries to push everything outside is, when you are boiling milk, you will see that when the temperature rises too much, due to that heat energy, the milk starts to come up. In the same way, if you apply, if you see chapati, while you are making chapati, why the chapati swells up, why it gets so big in size sometimes, if you are good in chapati making, then because there is heat inside the chapati which is trying to push it outwards. The same is happening inside the core of a star also. Here the heat reaction is so much, the heat energy is so much, that it is trying to push outwards everything, it is trying to push outwards. But at the same time, the mass of the star, inside the star, because there is carbon, there is iron, there is helium, there is hydrogen, there are very heavy particles. So the mass inside the core increases, so the gravity inward pull also increases. As you can see, gravity is acting inwards, and this fusion reaction temperature is exerting pressure outwards. Okay, so here also you can see these particles which are moving inside the core. This is the heat energy which is trying to push the boundaries of the star outwards, but at the same time gravity is acting inwards. Why gravity? Because the mass of the core is too much. Here also you can see the same thing, okay, in this animation also. So moving forward, this is the kind of reaction which happens inside a star. For a star which is 25 times the mass of our sun, this happens inside it. All the hydrogen gets converted into helium in approximately 7 million years. Okay, all the helium gets converted into carbon in 7 lakh years. Carbon gets converted to oxygen gets converted to silicon gets converted to iron. And then what happens is, because so heavy particles are inside, so heavy elements are inside, the mass of the core has increased so immensely that the that the temperature won't be able to sustain it pushing outward, and the core will collapse inside due to gravitational pull of the core. The core has so immense mass, the gravitational pull will increase so immensely that the core will collapse eventually. You need not remember this timeline, but just to make you an imagination, that's why I have written it, that's why I have brought this image. Okay, so you should remember this, that inside a very huge star, iron is also found in the core. Okay, so let's move further. So as I told you, stars have strong gravitational pull towards center because the mass of the core is increased so immensely, and it is countered by the heat force which is radiating outwards. Okay, to maintain the equilibrium and restrain the star from collapsing. If one of these things is not happening, suppose heat force decreases. Okay, wait, this one. So if the star, suppose if the outward radiation force, that is the heat force which is pushing outwards, if this increases in comparison to the gravitational pull which is acting inwards, then what will happen? Explosion will occur. Why? Because it will explode outside. If the outward radiation force, if the heat force is less than the inward radiation, the inward gravitational pull, then the star will implode. That is, everything will collapse into its core. Okay, so these are the two conditions which happen in any star. Until the equilibrium is maintained, the star is stable. Like our sun, our sun is still stable. Okay, it will take approximately 5 billion years more to completely exhaust its hydrogen. Still hydrogen is getting converted into helium only. I've shown you this equation, that hydrogen gets converted into helium. So still a lot of time is there for our star, for our sun. So moving forward, a nova explosion occurs. When does this occurs? When the temperature inside core of the star is enormous. The exploding star is called nova. Okay, so when the temperature inside the core is enormous, you tell me what will happen. The temperature is too much, the first condition will happen. The temperature is too much as compared to the gravitational pull, so it will explode, and this explosion is called nova explosion, and the star which is exploding is called nova. Now what happens is we apply the third law of Newton, that is, every action has equal and opposite reaction. That is, if explosion will occur, then there will be a recoiling force also. Okay, if explosion is occurring, then there will be recoiling force also. So everything will, after the explosion, everything will collapse towards the center, and what will happen is a daughter star will be born out of the core of that parent star. Okay, and it will look like a white dwarf. Why it will be white? Because the surface will be very bright because of the temperature of the core. It is still emitting a lot of energy, so it will appear to you white. So after the nova explosion, what will happen? A white dwarf will be born. Why? Because after the explosion, Newton's third law of motion will be applied, and everything will be recoiled back to the core. When will nova explosion occur? It occurs at very certain stages. Whenever the mass of the star, what we are talking about, whenever the mass of the star is less than Chandrasekhar limit. What is Chandrasekhar limit? Chandrasekhar limit is basically it speaks about mass of any star. If mass of any star is less than 1.4 times the mass of the sun, then nova explosion will occur. What will happen if mass of star is more than Chandrasekhar limit? We will study it further. Okay. So moving forward, when the white dwarf when does the white dwarf converts into a red dwarf? When all the hydrogen inside the core, it is totally exhausted, and there is nothing else, no else fuel to burn, there is no further fusion reaction occurring inside the core, then it will turn into a red dwarf. That is, it won't be emitting any more energy, any more light, any more heat, and it will be a dead star. If you have watched Avengers Endgame, Thor makes Stormbreaker, his second weapon he makes out of a dead star. Okay, he he again, I don't know how they didn't apply physics, or somehow he, because he was a god in the movie, so he again made the star lively and used its remaining energy to make its weapon. But if you want to see a dead star, you can see it in that movie. So after the white dwarf, when all the hydrogen is burned up, when there is nothing else remaining, then it will turn into a red dwarf, which is nothing, just a rocky body. That is only the core of the star is remaining. This is known as death of a star. So next is red giant. Red giant is nothing but a normal star. It is not a nova or supernova prodigy. It is not created after any explosion. It is a normal star. Okay, like our sun, it is a normal star. But the difference is that the plasma of this star is so huge that there is lot of energy, and due to this lot of energy, it appears to us red. The plasma is in a very expanded state. Why is this red giant looking so red? Because of so much of energy. Because in this star, iron is also formed. Okay, the reaction goes on till iron. That is the last of any fusion reaction. Hydrogen, then helium is formed, then carbon, then oxygen, then silicon. Silicon is solid. Okay, magnesium is metal, iron is metal. So at that time, as you can see here, the amount of heat energy is very high, and due to this very high amount of heat energy, the plasma is in a very expanded state. That is, it is expanded, the atmosphere has increased very much. Okay, so that's why, and due to that, that's why it takes a very gigantic shape. That's why we are calling it a giant, because the plasma is extended so much. And why red? Because of this so much of heat energy, it will glow red, so it will appear to us red. So that's why it is a red giant. Now what happens in this red giant is not nova explosion, but due to so much of high temperature, it will experience supernova explosion. Okay, this is the journey of a star. In the beginning, as I told you, the only hydrogen is there. So here you can see the stellar nebula. That this term nebula is nothing. Nebula is nothing but a gas cloud, but a cloud of gas in the universe. There are still a lot of nebulas are there. Okay, because we are still in an expanding state of universe. So nebula is nothing but a cloud of gas. So from this cloud of gas, when hydrogen combines, it either forms an average star or it forms a massive star. Our sun is an average star currently. What it will turn into after some time is a red giant. Okay, and in this red giant, what will happen is, because the plasma will grow so much, but the core won't be that much massive, that much enormous in mass, so it won't be able to hold all the plasma to itself due to gravitational pull. And what will happen is, due to outward pushing heat energy, all the gases will eventually escape from it, you can say. For the sake of explanation, all the gases will escape from it, and what will remain is just this core, this white core. That's why this white dwarf will form. As I told you earlier also, white dwarf will form. Okay, in the same way, our sun will also become a white dwarf. And when all the hydrogen inside the core is exhausted, all the fuel is exhausted, then it will turn into a red dwarf. That is just a dead star, a rocky body. Now the next thing what happens is, the stellar nebula, it converts into a massive star, a very huge star. So here, because the amount of fuel inside it is so much, that hydrogen will convert into helium, into then further carbon, then oxygen. In our star, it will stop at oxygen. It won't go till silicon. But here in red supergiant, it will continue till silicon. Then magnesium will form. Then iron will form. So it will become so enormous that there will be an explosion, and that explosion, due to very high temperature, will be supernova. It will be called supernova explosion. Okay, and after that explosion, two possibilities are there: either a neutrino star will be formed, or a black hole will be formed. So let's study further about these two things. What is a neutrino star and a black hole? So as I told you, a supernova explosion will occur, and because it is a bigger explosion, so recoil will also be bigger. As I told you, Newton's third law of motion, right? Do you remember? So that will happen. So because the outward explosive force is so high, inward pulling recoil will also be very stronger. Okay, so what will happen is all the mass, all the gases will collapse into one single core, which will be very small, that is approximately 10 to 25 kilometers in diameter. Our district or our normal city is generally 10 to 25 kilometer in diameter. So you can imagine how in such a small place so much of mass will be there. So it will be a very super dense star, that neutron star. Okay, now what will happen is, this is a neutron star. Okay, now because of so much of mass in this in its core, in this star, in this neutrino star, electromagnetic fields will start to develop, and they will be very strong. Okay, now due to these electromagnetic field, what will happen is the light won't be able to escape from its sides. Okay, because the electromagnetic fields, they won't allow the light to escape. So from where will they escape? From the poles, because electromagnetic fields, they go from pole to pole, and at the pole they are converging each other. Okay, at the pole electromagnetic fields are converging with each other. So there, only from that spot the light will be able to escape. So that's why you can see this dancing image, that light is only emitting from the poles where the electromagnetic field must be converging towards each other. So this state of a star is known as pulsar or a pulsating star. A question has also come from this part, that I will show you in the further slide. There is one previous year question. So this pulsating star, whenever this light emitting pole, it faces our earth registers a pulse of energy. Okay, and that pulse, and due to that pulse of energy, we get to know that yes, we have faced a pulsating star. A pulsating star has just faced towards us, its pole has just faced towards us. So in order to form a neutrino star, it is very essential that the mass of the sun, that the mass of the star, it should be more than Chandrasekhar limit. Only then a supernova explosion will occur, and then only a neutrino star will be formed, which will be super dense star. Okay, a lot of mass in a very small radius, in a very small diameter star sphere. Okay, so this is a pulsating star. Moving further, this CGL can ask you one question. It may ask you that which one of the following is the brightest object in the universe? A. Proxima Centauri, B. Sirius star, C. Quasar, yeah, D. Our sun. Okay, like that it may ask. So what is a quasar? Actually, it is the brightest object in the universe, and it is not a star. It is emitting light, but it is not a star, but it is a galaxy. Now it is a fact. If you want to learn it, you can learn it. It may be asked in the future, it may not be asked. It was just a fact, so I wanted you to know it. Now this is the image of a black hole. Further we will study about black holes. Also you should know that planets don't twinkle, only stars twinkle. Why? Because it is the star which is emitting light, not the planets. Planets don't have that much of energy that they can emit any kind of light. Only stars have their own, they are undergoing their own reaction, their fusion reaction, so they are emitting light, the heat energy that is creating light. That's it for today, and please like the video if you gain something new, if you gain some new knowledge today from this video. Subscribe to it if you want to know further about a lot of things that are unknown to you. If you want to gain new concepts, basically we'll be clearing all the concepts. And also share the video a lot. If you want to discuss it with your friends should know what you have learned, so that you can know their angle also, and you can gain from the discussions that you are having with your friends. Some knowledge you are having, you will share it to them. Their knowledge will increase, your knowledge will increase when they share something with you in the discussion. So that's why knowledge increases by sharing, and after all, sharing is caring, as we are told in our school also. If you have any doubts, please do ask us in the comment section, in our telegram channel link which we have provided you in the description. You have to ask doubts there also. You have to solve the questions on solar system and ask us doubts. Every doubt will be cleared. Our main focus will be on doubt clearing also only, because You can see these, you can gain knowledge from anywhere. You can read the books, you can watch any video, you can do anything to gain knowledge. But doubt solving is a major part in in clearing these exams. If you are studying something, definitely you will get doubts that why this thing is happening, why that thing is happening. So we are here to clear every doubt of yours. Please do ask us doubts. Okay, so see you in the next video. Thank you.